Tell I'm not at home. I'm at the airport, and it is noisy in here. But nonetheless, I needed to go live and do this video. I want to do this video. I have to be obedient, to the voice of the Lord, and I also have to be obedient to the plan that's in place to get this information out to everyone. So, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I'm Dr. Antoinette Brookins. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, pastor's wife in Fresno, California. Welcome to the Holy Ghost Homegirls. Here on this channel, we talk about all things Jesus and how to manage our mental health using faith-based practices. So, I got a little crazy little setup tonight, but that's okay. I am going forth because I want to continue talking about overwhelm. Okay, I want to continue talking about overwhelm. Hi, Mona Lisa. I want to continue talking about overwhelm. So you're going to hear all kind of background noise, but we going to thug it out. We going to push through because we got to talk about this, okay? And so I got my notes over here. I'm holding my notes in one hand and I'm holding the phone in another. But anyway, so before we talk about obedience, because that's what I want to talk about, right? Obedience. Before I talk about obedience, discipline or purpose, we have to talk about overwhelm. We have to talk about overwhelm, guys, because overwhelm actually makes even obedient women feel like we're being rebellious or we're being disobedient. Okay, and so this is not correction. This is clarity. Okay, it's compassion, laced in love and laced in truth. Okay. And so, as you know, I'm not going to be before you guys long. And as you guys also know, that I go every other week now. Every other week now, right? And so, let's talk about the idea of overwhelm not being disobedience. Okay, and so if you guys have been here for the past past month and a half or so, I have been beating this drum as it relates to overwhelm and hearing the voice of the Lord and being obedient. Okay, so I want to talk about this though, guys, because overwhelm happens. Listen, when everything feels urgent, like hello, Sister Kim. Good, hello, Sister Beatrice. Right. So overwhelm actually happens when everything feels urgent. Everything is a priority. We're trying to do all of the things all at once. We've been talking about that already, right? But nothing feels prioritized, right? So of course we're feeling overwhelmed, right? And then God's voice feels distant. God's voice feels different, and that's when we start feeling like really overwhelmed, like we're wondering like what's happening, what's going on, right? And prayerfully it causes us to take inventory. Okay, to take inventory, right? Many women are really just trying to obey everything at once, right? We talked about that. We're trying to obey everything at once, right? And the thing about that is, though, God usually speaks one instruction at a time. He don't throw a bunch of stuff at us, right, and say, figure it out. You know what I mean? He usually gives us one instruction at a time, right? And so, so noise then is the real enemy. Noise is the real enemy. So many different things happening in our life, and it just starts to sound like blah 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 blah. Right? You guys ever been like in a crowded restaurant and all you hear, you just hear a bunch of mumbling. People are talking, but there's so many people and they're all talking at once, right? And we're all talking at the same volume, and so it just sounds like blah, 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 right? And so that's what happens when we're trying to do everything at once, when we're trying to listen to everything that the Lord is saying at once as if He ain't speaking clearly. Okay, right, like bees buzzing, right? And so so noise is the real enemy. So listen to this. Noise includes internal pressure, other people's expectation, social media theology, because we got us some social media evangelists, prophetesses, apostles, whatever. So we got all of this stuff that we're hearing on social media, right? And not saying that they're wrong, right? But I'm saying, are they vetted, or are we listening to all of them? Are we counting it all as truth, right? Have we tried the spirit by the spirit? That's all I'm asking, right? And that's all I'm pointing out, right? And so, and guilt-driven yeses, guilt-driven yeses, right? So we have said yes to a thing out of guilt, out of some sort of obligation. The Lord didn't give it to us, but we felt pressured to say yes, right? So if everything feels loud, something needs to be silenced. Can I say that again? If everything feels loud, then something needs to be silenced, right? So, what are you listening to God? What are you listening to? Excuse me. What are you listening to that God never asked you to carry? Remember, I asked you guys that last week or a couple of weeks ago now? What is it that you're listening to, right? That God never asked you to carry, right? What voices are shaping your urgency? What has taken priority in your life, right? That the Lord never said, hey, I'm giving you this assignment, right? And so remember when we talked maybe 3 weeks ago now, and I said that there were some things that I was doing that the Lord is saying, I'm moving that off of your plate. And because of something that I felt like I wanted, something that I felt like I needed, and I felt like it was good, for the kingdom, right? That I wanted to do it. I wanted to do this, right? And so, but the Lord spoke and said, that wasn't me. I didn't tell you to do that. Right? And so let me name that thing. Let me name that thing. Right? Remember when I was doing the outfits of the day? Right? And I was given tips, tools, and techniques for modern modest Christian fashion. Remember, I was doing that, and so I loved it. You guys were loving it, right? It's like, and then I had to stop it abruptly. And the reason why I stopped it abruptly, because I went on the Ozempic, right, because of the type 2 diabetes. And so then I could not fit my clothing anymore. I felt sad about that. I was trying to, gain the weight back so I can get back into into the clothes so that I can do the videos again. And then life happened. Dad died, and then just various different things happened, right? I was not hearing clearly from the Lord saying that that's not what I have for you, right? And so I'm not saying that he allowed those things to happen so that I could stop doing it, but in the midst of it all, while I'm going back to the Lord in prayer about certain things that he wants me to pick back up, he let me know that wasn't it. Was it a good thing? Yes. But that's not what the Lord has for me. The Lord said, I want you to teach the women. I want you to coach the women. I want you to pour into them in a different way. They can find modest fashion somewhere else. Right? And so I had to swallow that. I had to swallow that and move on. All right? So, listen, here's another point though. Simplicity is a spiritual practice. Okay? Because overwhelm is not a fruit of the Spirit. Simplicity is a spiritual practice. Remember in Luke chapter 10, verses 41 and 42 specifically, they were talking about Martha and Mary, right? And Martha wasn't sinful when she was, keeping house and getting things done. But Mary had picked the good thing, sitting at the feet of the Lord, allowing the Lord to speak into her life. She was just sitting and resting at the feet of God, right? And so he didn't shame Martha. He redirected her. He redirected her, right? And so some of these things, it's just a simple redirection. It's a simple redirection. That's not what I have for you, daughter. Right? These things will overwhelm you. Right? One thing is often enough. So, what is it that the Lord is saying for you to do right now? What is He speaking? What is He saying? Right? Because that is when peace will return, when our priorities are clarified. Right? Once our priorities are clarified, that's when peace returns. Okay? And so, and these are the things that we talk about in detail. We work through these things. In the clarion call, we talk about these things. We talk about how to apply these things to our life, right? How to quiet the noise, right? And so I'm leaving you with this, ladies. I'm leaving you with this, right? It is time for us to be still and know that He is God. Right? To be still and know that He is God. Right? We don't get no cool points. We don't get to be Holy Ghost valedictorian for doing 1,000 things at once. That's the quickest way to burn ourselves out. The Lord is saying, stop. Listen. What do I have for you? What are you hearing from me in this season right now? Right? Some of these things we need to write down, some like these different things that we're doing in our life. We need to write them down, put them in our journal, right? And then sit before the Lord. Ask the Lord, help me to prioritize this. Help me to prioritize it. Help me to understand what you have for me. Because they're all good things, but are they God things? Are they God things? Right? So if we want to silence the noise, let's put it before the King. Let's put it before the King of Kings. Let's put it before the Lord of Lords. Ask Him. Right? If a man lacks wisdom, if he lacks knowledge, all we have to do is ask of the Lord. He said He'll give it to us. He said He'll give it to us. So my challenge to you is to go back. To go back. Lay those things before the altar and ask the Lord what He has for you. Ask Him to silence the noise. All right, ladies, listen. I'm going to let you guys go, right? Because the other thing about Emotional Mondays is that they'll be to the point, concise. Let you guys back to your day, right? To do the work that the Lord is calling us to do. Listen, guys, I love you so much. And we will be talking soon in a couple of weeks, right? I want to hear some praise reports. I want to hear some praise reports. I am going to put the link to the clarion call in. I'm gonna pin it in a thread a little bit later on tonight. Once I can get to a place where I can link it, I will go ahead and link that information. But listen, you guys have the most amazing evening. I love you guys too, and we'll be talking soon. Bye now.